Now you guys are ready to train people, right? Are you ready?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, we've got a coach. We've got we're equipped, man. We're equipped. Born to do this. Yeah.
You know, I'm super happy that it happened because that's one thing that I always wanted to do. There's two things, you know, that I thought are crazy and it's not for humans.
Diver. You guys ready?
You ready?
Ready, Eli?
Yep. Let's do this.
Hey guys, it's Ed, your Minister of Adventures, and this is Divers Getting Coffee, featuring divers sharing diverse experiences across the Ocean Tribe. Let's go.
Crazy.
Loved it. The person hanging on to the
Yes. I saw you hanging on.
Who is that though?
So
The guy who was hanging on to
Oh
it,
yeah, I think it's the guy talking right now. That's him.
He was just hanging on to dear life. That's
yeah.
Oh,
No,
so cool.
that was still a good shot though. It was a good shot.
That's that nervousness undercover, you know.
Still got the okay.
Act tough, but you know. Wow.
Some James Bond stuff.
I know, right? And this is so cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait till we can just go and just do it with you guys.
All over again. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
See how beautiful it is, man.
Wow, look how close it's. I mean, I love how the fish get so close to you.
Yeah, so we just kind of like went down and just waited for you guys. And so we actually, you guys were busy doing all your things, and we actually experienced you guys going under, like, no, I don't know. It's kind of fun, but I don't know.
That's more like me,
Now,
right?
when you guys were going down, were you guys obviously going in a sequence, kind of, or you get to a point where you can kind of like just pretty much keep going down, you know, Ed?
There is, well, you can go down as quickly as you want. Well, typically you have a you have an idea of the dive site, so you have a predefined depth you're trying to reach. there's a certain point you get to, and yeah, you probably want to stop there. Anything beyond that is a point of no return.
Sorry, that's loud. That's
Don't
loud.
worry.
Oh boy.
Awesome, man.
Now it was
It
amazing.
was almost like you just took us back to last week.
Frankly, it couldn't be like, I'm super happy that it happened, because that's one thing that I always wanted to do. There's two things, that I thought are crazy and it's not for humans and to stay away. One is skydiving, and then two is going like deep in the ocean. Like, are you serious? You're not a fish. What are you doing down there? But then I figured that, over the years, I started doing more snorkeling and just really been very comfortable, more comfortable going underwater, obviously with the proper gear and training, than to fly off a plane. Like, to me, flying off a plane is still way off, right? It's for the birds, really, literally.
It's it's funny you mentioned that. It's actually that first moment when you either roll off the plane or the moment when you go underwater and take that breath, it feels very similar. It's that point when your mind is telling you, "Oh, you done mess up now. You're gonna die, Cloud."
You gotta commit.
But the good thing is with underwater, I guess you can just quickly pop back up. With falling off a plane, there's no going back.
One way.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to enjoy it. AY, how was it for you? That first moment.
To be honest, man, it was overwhelming, man. Overwhelming. It wasn't something I had braced myself for. I think my own experience with, diving or anything close to that was snorkeling in Puerto Rico, which is very different from this. I also think that, just even the sheer amount of things involved with prepping just made it almost real, wearing the tank, wearing all the gear, having everything, the fins. It was just so much that by the time you got in, you're just like, you know what, you just have to. It was actually a stretch experience overall, to be honest. But, looking back, just like when we got out and I shared with you, I think it's one of those experiences that for me, the way I processed it, it was more real when I got out and had like a moment to like take it all in and soak it all in versus like, walking out and immediately there's a burst of energy. But yeah.
And that's cool because, Cherif, you just mentioned that, you've been snorkeling, spear fishing, free diving, but it felt different when you had all this gear and all this protocols and all these things to deal with before going in.
Yeah, to me, like, it was obviously like almost, it was great. I cannot express how much it was for two reasons. One, snorkeling to spare fish, all right, and get good stuff, either it's lobster or fish. Imagine having to still equalize, but you're still with that one breath, and you still have to stay, and you still have to aim, and you still have to like get the fish, and you still have to go back up. So for me, I've done that, right? And you'll be amazed how what I found amazing with that kind of snorkeling is that at one point I would completely like surprise myself as to how long I was getting underwater and staying underwater and being comfortable for a very long period. But obviously, you still have to go up, even if it's past a minute or two, whatever. It's like you got to get back up to get some air. So for me, being able to master, I was very conscious about being able to breathe through my mouth only underwater for a very long period of time. But it wasn't long before I realized, like, OMG, the only thing I really need to worry about is equalize. That was good. I can be there for an hour. It was like a kid in a candy store, because I never felt like what it was to be underwater without worrying about your next breath. So that's, to me, that was literally the experience. I remember being under and catching a fish, and like at one point, I have to get back up, and then get back up, get some breath, come back down, fish is gone,
Yeah.
So that kind of frustration, when I could have just, if I had like a little bit more time, I would have gotten it. So that was why it felt good, because I'm like, if I go underwater with this thing, I'm coming back with a big, that was
You're like, you're thinking like, instead of 2 minutes, and I have super respect for spearfishing free divers. It's something I don't think I have the mental discipline to kind of push through with that. So it's like, you're like, oh, instead of 2 minutes, I could stay here for like an hour. Man, I'll come back with a hole.
Yeah, that's how it came across to me. Like, whoa, I got power here. I got a major tool. That's really how good it felt. So
That's awesome. Now, if anyone just started watching this is the experiences from AY and Cherif doing Discover Scuba, which is basically a crash course on scuba diving. Let's face it, scuba diving, the learning to scuba dive is kind of an investment. So you want to see whether or not you like the experience, whether you can pinch and equalize, whether you can deal with everything. Discover Scuba, most diving agencies have some variations of it, where they pretty much just kind of shrink everything into like the least amount you need to go under and breathe. And then, go in there, and if you like it, you can kind of continue. But I got to ask you guys, let's start with AY. Why did you even do it? Why? What is wrong with you? Why are you trying to defy science and breathe underwater?
So I think now being in the US, I think I'm sort of exploring a lot of stretch experiences, because I think like you can draw a lot of, would I say, inspiration, motivation, build your confidence from a lot of those things. And I think a lot of these things, especially if they are things that you can continuously do, and it's not just a one-time thing, you can sort of translate that to like your work, your personal development, some of your personal goals. So for me, I think I've been exploring a lot of that overall. Here at Wharton, I joined the hockey team. I'm pretty much still one of the worst out of 230 people, but I mean, it's just amazing to be on the ice, wear similar gear as well, and then just enjoy that. And it's just a fun sport where you can do it with people, even, it goes well beyond like, the score, but actually just that brotherhood and that camaraderie, you can't replace that. And, taking that to diving, I think the fact that you actually have a group of people that you can share that kind of experience with, trust your safety, your life with, and then just pretty much just forget a lot of things. It's almost kind of like you just don't have to think as much anymore. You just let everything go, your problems, everything stays on the surface of the water, and, you just go down, lose yourself. And for me, I think it was just an experience that definitely did push me out of my comfort zone. But more importantly, I think it's something that the energy, the experience, the feeling I got from that is something that I'm looking to translate to like other things, and already doing that already. So yeah.
That's how you know that's how you know when you're talking to intellectuals. Me, I just did it to just look cool. Like I just wanted to look cool in scuba gear. But that's great. I mean, the lifestyle, and then the limits, and seeking that different experience, an alternate experience, which transfers to other things, hockey, skydiving, which Cherif is doing soon, right? Why did you do it, Cherif?
No skydiving yet, or not at all. But without, I'm not gonna lie, like you, Ed, made the water look so amazingly good. I kept like stalking your page, like, dude, should I? I think that you literally made that shift in me as to like, what? It's not bad after all. I got my African brother, so comfortable in the water. Trust me, it felt good seeing one of our kind, just doing it. Because I'm like, look, that's so cool. Not that it's a race thing, but I grew up watching Jacques Cousteau, going in the water, discovering the ocean. I'm very, aware of what's going on with global warming, the, de-icing, and how the world is really changing, and I know that we're losing a lot of coral, life in different places around the world because of that global warming. So to me, like exploring the ocean has always been a, sort of like, like like I'm very excited about that. So to me, it's the passion, it's part of the passion. As far as going down, like without, like I literally, it wasn't in my immediate list, I'm not gonna lie. But over the past few months, I literally was watching. Then I said, you know what, Ed, let me know. And I didn't say I'm gonna dive. I just said, let me come over with you guys so I can just watch. I can stay in the boat. I can stay on the side. But that was my first. That's when I started to open up more to at least come closer and see what you guys are doing. And Ed is like, yo, let's do it. And I'm like, are you sure you mean me going in there? Yeah, I'm going in. He's like, yeah. I mean, we can make it happen. And I'm like, yo, okay. So I was all in, and I was very excited. I think I couldn't even sleep the night before, by the way. I was so excited. So I got to, to Long Beach early, and it could have been better. And like you said, Eli, having the camaraderie and having the right people around you, we not only had an incredible experience in the water, but the whole experience around it was just outstanding. It's almost like a mini vacation for like a day vacation. It was really good.
That's awesome. You guys are amazing. Like if anyone is thinking about scuba diving or diving or exploring the ocean, or or trying something you've been wanting to do for a while, you just heard two fine gentlemen talk you through a very amazing way to shift a perspective of something. And I'm glad you guys got to enjoy it. Again, I'm glad I was able to facilitate, but I was just doing it to look cool. That's awesome.
I think Cherif hit the nail on the head with, how you sort of made that journey memorable, even before we even went on it. I think a lot of people that even do this, I'm not sure how much capturing they do and how much storytelling and sharing they do. And I think you doing that, not just actually taking nice pictures and videos, which is what you're sharing, but truthfully, you're doing a lot more than that. You're actually engaging people, getting the conversation going, getting people to talk about it, getting people to, really realize that, there's still so much that you can still do, so much to explore, so many different waters to dive in, So I think it's something that at the end of the day, if one can nurture, you can actually turn it into like a community, something that at the end of the day, people with similar interests can actually just build off each other, share experiences, try out new places together, and then just turn it to something way beyond just a regular dive and getting a certification. So big ups to you, man, for what you're doing. Big ups to you, man, for making it fun. Yeah.
Well, shout out to you guys for taking a plunge. And that's the difference between just Googling something, how do I dive or where should I go dive, versus talking to someone you can relate with. Like you mentioned, Cherif, that it's good. That's the importance of, diversity and inclusion in all these sports we do. And no better person to tell our stories than ourselves. And like you just mentioned, AY, it's not just about, capturing pretty pictures. It's about making it make sense and making it valuable to others, right? And that's the whole point of Divers Getting Coffee. Like all of this is to just build a community where, tomorrow somebody's asking, hey, how was that Discovery School like for you? You tell them, oh, whether you liked it or you hated it, and they can make their decision for themselves on whether or not to try it. But at least they have firsthand, yeah, Cherif did it, AY did it, and I think I can hack it, So that's
the only thing
awesome.
I'll tell everyone is to make sure they know all the hand signals. Just make sure they know that.
Hey, it was great.
Coming handy under the water. There's no talking. There's no eye contact. There's nothing. There's no, he would see that I'm panicking or anything like, nah, bruh. So, all the,
No, it was good. But being like, Ed is such I love how he captures the images. So for me, the experience also was how watching so many of videos, like I said, I was stalking the whole, Divers Getting Coffee and Discover Scuba. And every time I see this image, I'm like, he must be editing the hell out of these things. But being on the other side of the spectrum, it's not much editing. He's literally just capturing what's happening, and it just blew my mind. You know, going inside, he used to be like, how does he get so close to the fish like this? The fish don't even like run away. And next thing you know, there's a fish coming at me like right there, almost like, you know, you want to touch it, but the fish does say like, no, don't touch me, but it don't like run away, you know. And that was a cool experience, you know. So,
and like I said, I do most of my editing on my phone. Like I don't have any fancy software. It's just I just I just preset the shots and try to think of what I'm trying to tell, and that's great. Now, obviously, people can just Google it, but you just had firsthand experience. Such a sweetie. She's still there?
Thank you so much. I'm still here. That little baby, you know.
Hey, kitty.
Say hi. She's
hiding. Yeah. He wants to dive as well. Yeah.
It's funny. I when I go diving, I show my kids just footage from the dive and stuff, and it's actually gotten them to a place where they think about it, and every time they're like, "Hey, yeah, I can't wait to go diving with you. I can't wait to go diving with you." And I'm actually looking forward to it when they get a little bit older. And the job now is to get them comfortable. Growing up in Lagos, it's a beach city. I hung out near the beach. I hung out on the beach. But the first, second, and third rule is never go in the water. So actually, I feel very fortunate that I've been able to kind of explore this itch that I've personally had for a long time. And I'm very happy to share with other people. One more thing real quick. I know Sunday morning, we all have a busy, or Sunday afternoon for you, AOI, we all have a busy day ahead. Enjoying the rest of the weekend before it goes. But real quick, let's start with Cherif on what your take on that Discover Scuba program was. You know, just what do you do with the too much information, too little information, and your general experience through the package?
I believe that it was very concise, and for discovery, it was absolutely enough. As far as the basic training, I took the diligent, effort to make sure, of course, before you go and try to document as much as train yourself as much as possible, maybe online through whatever available media out there, and just learn as much as possible. So upon arriving, the training to me was much easier because I didn't wake up and roll off the bed and go. I was really prepared to a certain degree from all the videos that I asked for to send me first, so that I can almost know what to expect. And after doing that, the experience was even easier because some of the terminology, some of the signs I've already seen, some of the basic operation of the tank, and the different, I forgot the terms, but like just all the briefing things, right? So I was a little bit like aware of some of these things first, but then the experience itself, I think, was very self-explanatory. Even if I didn't do the diligent, investigation, before, it was very easy. And I think that they did a great job. And I also think that they would push with you further as your level of comfortability. So I could feel like it could really be very extensive, okay, if you are really catching on, and being with Eli, like one of the things that I experience is like, when you have people around you doing the same thing, it definitely makes the experience easier. So that's cool to be in the water with people you're very close with. That's something I noticed, And again, like, literally, I feel like obviously you are literally trusting the guy next to you with your life, because if there's, well, they can hook you up or whatnot.
Right.
Your buddy, he actually gets, it's more than just buddy. This guy can save your life. So that's the cool thing.
Once you descend below the water, that special button just comes between you and your buddy. I depend on you, you depend on me. Don't mess this up. That's awesome, man. And shout out to Catalina Diver Supply, one of the training centers on Catalina Island. Follow-up question to that before we go into AY's thoughts on this. Cherif, is there one thing you wish you knew before you did the training or the Discover Scuba experience? Is there one thing you wish, oh man, I wish I knew that, maybe it would have made my experience more interesting or whatever it is?
No, I think, I mean, I cannot, for the first time ever getting in the water in scuba, I feel like, because I believe in learning, I believe in the stages in life, I believe in paying your dues, I believe in doing your training as far as like the amount of hours that you have to clock in. Okay, so I believe in not skipping steps. So therefore, to me, as eager as I was to be all the way to the bottom with, everybody, I was like, bro, calm, like take it step by step. So one thing I really cannot say, I think it was excellent. And I didn't, nothing like really, like some of the basic thing that I would say is just learning how to equalize easier, how to equalize better, going down. That's why the first question I asked was, how do you really do you guys just go and straight down, or is it like progressive sort of, descent? Those basic things. And it's nothing but skills at that point, I mean, acquired skills. So I think that, I couldn't think of anything really that they could have done even differently.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's great you mentioned that. And earlier, I guess I was kind of vague on the answer. So I personally think the first 10 feet are probably the hardest to descend. But depending on the nature of the dive, there's some dives, there's a lot of current on the top. You need to drop in, go straight to your predefined depth, 50, 60, 80, 90, whatever you're trying to do. There's some dives you got to take your time to really go through it. But over time, you kind of get the skills to be able to determine that beforehand, and when you see the need, adjust it as necessary. But typically you want to go at the same pace as your buddy. But that's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Now, I'll ask the same question to AY. Firstly, was there anything you wish you knew before you did the Discover Scuba? Then following up to that is how your Discover Scuba experience was to you.
Okay. So similar to Cherif, I think like it's one of those experiences that maybe a little bit of preparation definitely does help. So I think it's very important to make time to like just go through videos, get familiar with some of the gear. Must confess that the instructors did a good job at familiarizing you with everything. But I think considering you're trying to manage so much information, not so much, but like a decent amount of information, it just makes you more comfortable if you're sort of familiar with a lot of these things. What I would do differently might be to double check the gear and make sure that, everything fits. Because I do remember that I had some challenges with equalizing because of the size of the mask that I was wearing. Because of my nose, I couldn't reach it. So maybe that might be something that I would sort of recommend, that at least you sort of just get a taste and be sure that, everything sort of checks out. But aside that, I think it's one of those things that you just jump in. You definitely will not be great at it. Most people will not be great at it the first time, and you're not like gonna, do amazing stuff. But I think it's one of those things that you build on and you just sort of enjoy over time. And as Ed had said earlier, you probably would love it or you wouldn't. I'm not sure there's like a middle ground. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, guys. You either really like it or either like, no, I'm absolutely. If you go in and go, man, that's like serial killer level. So last, and I got to tell you guys were amazing. Shout out to you guys for trying it. Shout out to you guys for your experience. I'm going to tell you, I didn't do Discover Scuba, but my very first underwater experience, I was back rolling and yelling and trying to pull anybody I could find to get back up. It's funny. I was committed to it. I wanted to do it, but I actually freaked out in the pool because typically you do a pool section first. Your experience was a little different because you did the ocean, because that adds a little more complexity. There are more variables to it. The current, the kelp. You're like, what is going on here? I did it in the pool and I freaked out. But by the time I got to the ocean, I was in a better mental space. So it worked out great, and I'm thankful for that. Last question: do you think you're going to continue doing this? Do you think you're going to continue to get the open water and keep diving? Why?
Totally. I'm already looking for where to go here in Philly because I think it's also one of those experiences that you need to build on real quick because I think the momentum, the excitement, and also some of the like little learning points you picked up are better used immediately because I think that if you give it some time, you just will just fall off the wagon. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't pick it up at another time if your schedule
Right.
doesn't permit, but I would rather, knowing myself, jump on this right away. So definitely I'm going to do that here in Philly, try to see how much diving I can do here and then explore that. I mean, you know, now most of my holiday destinations are going to be impacted by this. Maybe not all of them, but at least a large number, maybe one in every 2 or 3. I would try and see if there's potential to do that because I think it's just an amazing experience. And honestly, that experience with the right people, especially if they are friends, family, you know, really decent people, even if they're strangers, but decent people, forget how skilled they are. It's something that I think you would treasure and you would actually, that would leave a mark in your life. So for me, definitely it's something I want to do going forward.
That's awesome. That's a great bond and a great relationship to nurture just with divers. And now we got AY going to like Nepal and like, hey, y'all got any diving here? I know it's mountains, but you got any diving? That's awesome. Sure. How about you? You think you're gonna continue?
Absolutely. I mean, it's to me again, you know, growing up, you know, the comparison with Lagos, Dakar is a beach city as well. I cannot wait to get my own gear in Senegal. We have Gori Island, we have Ngor Island, and amazing Little Sarpo. So we have several little islands around the city that are known for amazing coral life and the city and underwater. So this to me really opened up my, you know, my eyes to so much more possibilities. I haven't been doing a lot of spearfishing or whatnot. I, you know, very comfortable with the ocean, doing triathlon in Malibu, in Manhattan Beach. So swimming for a long time in the ocean is something we do. It's a little different than regular, you know, you have your wetsuits, so it's just a matter of long distance. And just being in the water is something I've always been comfortable with. And this is just taking it to the next level. So the question, absolutely, I definitely want to literally get certified as soon as possible. And definitely want to go with anywhere that this guy Ed, I know one thing, him and his crew, they're like amazing. They're about good times. So if y'all, you know, wherever you're going, let me know, because Honduras or whatever, you name it, I'm down. But you know, I'm ready.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, shout out to you guys. We're going to definitely be diving together soon again. Definitely, we got to go dive in Senegal. We got to go dive in Lagos. We got to go dive in Egypt, Zanzibar, South Africa, all over the world. Shout out to you guys. This was another episode of Divers Getting Coffee. We've got AY and Cherif. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Let's give you the rest of your day back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shout out, gentlemen. Bye.